Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, the band are back together. Myself, Golf Love UK, Red Harrington, and Pro Golf Critic. We are together. We're going to preview LIV. I'm going to get stuck into Rory. Jay has got some strong thoughts on the exemptions for LIV. And Red Harrington is not support function for live.com. So please stop sending him your queries about where is the fantasy tab and do I have to pay? Red is not support for live.com. I might even tear in a little bit to LIV, and I'm a big LIV supporter, but I just said before we started the show, LIV make it really hard to love them at times, just with some of the stuff that's going on. So before I make this show all about me and me having a rant, gentlemen, how are we?
Doing well. It's been an eventful last week. I mean, again, I feel like I say that every single podcast that we do. It's a big week, obviously, for LIV, the season kickoff. And, I'm excited to get started.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Jeddah to start. I wish some of the things were smoothed out on the customer service end, like you were saying. But, if anybody does have questions, my inbox is open. It's fine. We can talk about it.
Don't give me that. You just moaned to me and Jay for 5 minutes about.
I know.
You're too nice.
I need to get answers for people, but I welcome them to at least kind of let me know. And it's nice to know these problems exist so I can bring them to people, and I have. But it would be nice if some of those fires were put out on the other end before they get to me. So
also,
not
got to be clear.
Don't create the fires.
Oh, yeah. It's no longer Jeddah, it's Riyadh now. So we got to be extra clear that, we're moving into a brand new, this is a whole new world. I feel like Riyadh's going to be better attended than Jeddah has because as we know, but that event wasn't actually in Jeddah. It was, an hour outside of it.
So that's literally like saying the event's in Los Angeles and it's in Sacramento. It's literally like, it's mental. It's not even saying it's in LA and it's in Oakland. Like, it's not even like that close.
You can really see the difference from the topography, and that's actually one thing I definitely want to kind of get into later, especially with the whole light situation. But yes, thank you, Jay. Jeddah just rolls off the tongue, but I am excited for Riyadh.
Yeah. No, I love Jeddah. I love Royal Greens. It's a great course. Hopefully that sort of comes back around, except there's still a lot of infrastructure challenges there. I mean, it's a great course. Like, I really like it. Like, I really want to play that course. But
yeah, I played it.
Yeah, I know you did. No, it's all good. We can move on. We could talk a little bit about this.
Do you know who won the longest drive competition at LIV Jeddah?
Don't start with me, because then I'm going to start talking about my Pro-Am win, and then it's going to be over.
And do you know who made a birdie on his own ball on the 16th with the red sea to his left-hand side? And it was filmed.
Do you know who made a birdie on the who made a birdie on the last hole on his own ball to win the Pro-Am? Yeah, it's another story. So I'm gonna try. Let's try not to talk about past.
Just say Duke. We've done golf lovers United bingo. If you just say Duke nice and quick, we're done.
Can we talk? Do you have time to talk about Cooper Flag? Do we have time to talk about Con Knuppel? Do we have time to talk about
no basketball?
Because I could go on a Duke basketball rant right now. I'm really excited about Duke.
Between CBS and then trying to watch TGL, I've watched too much college basketball already. I just finished my college football season, national championships, go Bucks. That's it.
Congrats.
I'm on golf, and I don't need to hear about NCAA until March Madness. Then I can dabble, but then I'll be contacting you.
All I would say is, are the Ohio State going to struggle now that you've lost Chip Kelly and you've lost a lot of your commits are gone now? You guys have been decimated. Anyway, we've been told we're not a football show because otherwise I'll talk about the Cowboys.
I will shout out Brian Hartline. He's going to be our new offensive coordinator. I love that man. He's the reason we develop all the wide receivers. That's all I got. Let's go into the show because people are probably already tuning out.
Yeah, so look, apologies about the American sports angle. It shouldn't even happen. I should just tell you to shut up, but I love American sports. I met an Eagles fan in the gym, and we just chatted about American football for like 45 minutes. Well, I was trying to do some squats, but my back is made of balsa wood. Right, let's talk about Pebble Beach. Let's talk about the AT&T Pro-Am. Where do we start? Shall I get off my chest?
I mean, we can start with who won.
Yeah,
I mean,
with the winner?
I don't care that he won. Look, I don't care that he won. I think Rory is one of the greatest talents that's ever existed, ever in the game of golf. I think he's arguably top 2 driver of the ball. I think he's one of the best iron players ever. I think he's struggled at times more recently with his intermediate wedge game. We've talked on this show multiple times. If you ever get a chance to go and listen to the Masters coverage that was given in the UK, where Butch Harmon broke down Rory's intermediate wedge game, go listen to it. Basically explains why he hasn't got 15 majors. Rory
we talk about clutch putting too. It's another story.
Yeah. But you'd have to make fewer clutch putts if you're 20 foot closer, right? If you're not always putting from 45 foot, it would really help you out.
Well, is that how strokes gained work though? I don't think exactly. I mean, he put a impressive stroke gain number up there, which you got to give him props for.
I've got my issues with strokes gained, by the way.
I know you do. Yeah, we could have a whole nother podcast dedicated to stats and tracking, strokes gained, all that stuff. I want you to go into your
in the words of the great Colin Coward. Sometimes analytics has to be replaced with manalytics. Sometimes it's just how good you are. All right,
it's true. I agree.
Right. It's coming off. No, I was going to put that out. Right.
No, get rid of that. Get rid of it.
My issue with Rory's comments, and I'm a big, huge fan of Rory's, I just explained. The ridiculous comment that the PGA Tour has to play at these amazing courses. It's an honour to be at Pebble Beach, Spyglass Hill. It's so important that we have these courses. What was the line? Look, I think it's really important that venues are a big part of the storyline. We go to major championships. I always feel like golf course is a big part of the storyline. These 2 golf courses, definitely 2 of the best we play on the PGA Tour.
He's such a panderer sometimes.
Cut the crap. Yeah, he's a panderer. Cut the crap, Rory. That's not how you feel. And I can prove that's not how you feel because you played that course once in 15 years before it became a guaranteed $25 million no-cut event. When it wasn't a $25 million purse, a full event, you didn't play it. If you cared that much about Pebble Beach, you would have played it. So don't give me that nonsense now. And again, Rory, I'm not going to be listening to this. I don't care. If he is, I think he's a great golfer. But this pandering nonsense about this course, it's not true because you show how you feel with what your actions are and what you do. And if he really loved Pebble Beach, he wouldn't have only played it once in 14 years.
Yeah.
He's only played it recently because it's a no-cut, $25 million guaranteed purse signature event. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're absolutely not wrong. I think that there's a lot of pretend amnesia on the PGA Tour that there wasn't a PGA Tour before LIV came around. Like there was a whole PGA Tour where they had this event. This event's been going on for many, many decades. The AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am that I've gone to previously.
Or a lot of excuses like, they didn't want to play with the AMs the whole time, so they all avoided it, which is like, okay.
Well, now let me do the good part of Rory.
Okay.
If he plays like that, he'll win 2 more majors in the next 2 years. Mate, you nod your head like he drove the ball incredibly, as he always does. His short intermediate wedge game, sort of like 70 yards to 120 yards, was almost perfect. He putted brilliantly, and when the wind got up, he flighted the ball superbly. That Rory McIlroy, if he plays like that, Scotty's great, Bryson's great, they're all great. If we get that Rory all the time, he wins 2 more majors, maybe 3 in the next 2-3 years, because that is imperious quality.
That is true. However, the most important thing is we're not getting that Rory in majors because with him, it's entirely mental. I've been saying
I'm not saying it for 10 years. That version, that was everything. Yeah. That was everything. Yeah. Long game, short game, irons, intermediate game, putting, flighting with the wind, conditions, dealing with it all. Was in and out of contention at different times. Was mentally strong. That Rory's unbeatable. So look, if he is watching, he won't be. If he is one of our 2,000, 3,000
we'll have to clip this out. He'll watch it. He's very active on Twitter. People don't know how active he actually is on Twitter.
Which of his ghost accounts is he going to follow us with? But that's my point. Mm-hmm. I just wish he'd I'd have so much more respect. Do you know what? I didn't really play this event before, but now I've started playing it. I bloody love this course.
Yeah.
Just say it's exactly the same comment about how great the course is, but without the falsehood at the front.
Rory is he is the king of flip flopping. Let's just call a spade a spade. He does this on everything. He did this on the Olympics. He did this on the Ryder Cup. He's done this on Pebble Beach. Like he's done it on LIV. Like he's done it on like so many things. It's like he even did it on his own marriage. Like I don't want to make this like a personal attack on him, except we just have to call a spade at some point. He is. I've been calling him bipolar Rory now because it's like he flip flops like all the freaking time, and it's like someone's got to hold him accountable. Someone's got to call him out on this. Like I want to see in a press conference someone say, "Look, Rory, like you've been changing your opinions a lot." Do you want to talk us through that process a little bit?
It's not look. I defend his right to change opinion, and I don't care about his marriage and stuff. Like, leave that to him. Like, do you know what? I'm delighted.
Except it's an indicator. It's an indicator. Yeah, all this stuff is an indicator.
But I don't care. I'm delighted him and his wife are back together. There's a young daughter involved. I'm glad they've changed it. I'm glad everything's going to be back together, and I'm really happy with them. I hope they work it out in the same way I do for anyone that goes through that. I defend. I know you are. I defend his right to change his mind because you can change your mind with new information. What I do find odd is when you change your mind and change it back and change it back and when
it's not new information though.
No. It's not a new. But if you have an opinion and then you change your mind and stay with that, then that's fine. But then to go back to the back and forth, that's kind of where my issue comes up with that. But let's not hammer Rory the whole time. Red, you hammer him for a bit, and we'll move on.
I have a perfect. I think it's perfect to highlight that. He was asked, what do you think about the tour or whatever, and his response was, "I'm worried about myself." Then it goes to, "I'm worried about myself, but you also have to worry about helping the tour." At his latest comments, but then you also look at like hearing from Tom McKibben and the discussions that were had between him and Rory. It was, "I don't want you to watch out for yourself. I want you to come help this tour. I want you." So it's like, where is it? You're helping yourself as a player? Are you so the drawing the line on that and kind of understanding, I guess, picking and choosing a side and just flip flopping back and forth. Like, I don't know. I can't deal with it. So, but you know what? Great play. Like you said, great playing. And the only thing I would add is that major tournaments, those putting surfaces are going to be far, far faster. I think he loved those surfaces because they had to slow them down for the breeze, and it benefited him. You saw a lot of Europeans climbing up that leaderboard because of that. Shane Lowry, Justin Rose, all those guys who are very accustomed. I mean, Tommy Fleetwood shot like a 62 or whatever. That could be a little off, but I know he went low on Saturday.
I think it was a 64, but yeah.
Yeah. Like when the breeze is like that, obviously those guys are going to climb up. Great ball striking, yes, but also slower putting surfaces. They're far more accustomed to than any American player, and I think that it flips the script on what their abilities are.
I'm just going to say it now. I know LIV aren't paying big money. We're not going to get into the couple of little contract things we found out in the last sort of couple of days, Jay. That's really confidential on some of the little bits of information we got. Well, it's not our story to tell. If people come on a podcast, that's their story.
That's fair.
But if Yazir has any inclination to open up that checkbook, having watched some TGL and having watched Rory in the showdown, there is what annoys me about it is there is no one more suited to being rah team golf than Rory McIlroy. LIV was built for him.
Yeah.
Just to be a team, just to be a captain of the Celtic Warriors, or whatever you want to call yourselves. I don't really care. The Shamrocks, the Screaming Shamrocks, and it's 4 Irishmen. Like, just whatever it is, like, he is built for that. His personality,
Yeah, and this has been presented, like, I know this for a fact. Like, this stuff has been presented to him. It's been in some of these documents that have been part of the Senate hearings, going on almost 2 years ago. There's no secret that Piff and Yasser want Rory to be a part of LIV and sort of part of this more of a global golf player than what he is now. Because let's be honest, like he is 100% currently married to the PGA Tour. He's married to the sort of American golf establishment. Like, look, his dad is a member at one of the primary American establishment golf clubs in the United States. So, like, who knows what the fallout would be for Rory making this, like, choice to maybe come to LIV or play primarily on the European Tour and LIV as well, and sort of leave American golf behind. Like, his dad might lose his membership to Seminole. Like, that's me purely speculating, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And I think that it sort of loops into the Tom McKibben situation as well, where I feel like this move to bring Tom McKibben to LIV, there's way, way, way more to that than meets the eye. I think that Yasser and the PIF were very, very much involved in this, really because they want Rory to, like, start considering, because again, this goes into his flip-flopping thing. We know for a fact Rory has this huge offer potentially to go over to LIV and sort of be more of a European Tour player. Chubby Chandler has talked about it for like a full year. That's something that is still unresolved. I feel like this ties into Rory flip-flopping, because I think that he's probably said at one point that he was in, and another point he said he wasn't in. We've seen his opinion on LIV totally change, and now recently it seems like he's gone more negative about LIV again. Like, I mean, he just does this every now and then, so it's like you have to keep, like, forcing the issue here, and I think that showing that he can have Yasser and PIF and LIV can have Tom McKibben, who Rory is known for a very, very long time. The fact that he could bring him over to LIV because he has all these other great European players that he wants to mentor under. John Rahm, Terrell Hatton on Legion 13. I think that that's something that, like, people need to keep an eye on. And it's something that, like, is a really, really important thing because, I mean, Tom McKibben grew up at Hollywood Golf Club, which is where Rory grew up. Like, I mean, they're very, very tied at the hip. So, and Rory's talked about how he was, you know, he tried to kind of talk Tom out of it. And Tom had already decided that he was going for a variety of reasons. And if I'm Tom McKibben, I'm making the same decision he's doing, even if it isn't huge guaranteed money, because you're playing for more money on LIV. You're a young player that gets to learn and mentor under two of the great European Tour players of all time. Not only them, but also the other people on LIV: Sergio Garcia, Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, Paul Casey, Martin Keimer, like all these guys.
Let's not forget the story that Caleb shared with me when we interviewed Caleb Surratt for the podcast. We interviewed him. That was at Jeddah, wasn't it? I interviewed him at Jeddah, and he came on the show, and he said that he was warming up at Mykoba. He was at Mykoba. I think it was the second day when there was the thoughts when they started a bit late because a few people had a bit of the bad upset stomach. And he said that he was just chilling out, and like Phil Mickelson came over and started talking to him and gave him a bit of advice about his wedges. Like you don't get that on the PGA Tour. Like
no way.
You don't get it. And like this is, I think, an very quick segue off and back on. Like, I think you've seen a different side of Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka, hard-faced, no time for anybody, serious business, blah, blah, blah. You see him in the Rick Shields video? Brooks is whether it's having a baby, whether it's putting on a few pounds over the winter, whatever it is, like, Brooks is like more affable. It's almost like they're just enjoying life a bit more.
Yeah, same with Bryson, same with Patrick Reed too. Like those guys are they've all talked about how...
I've always liked P. Reed. I've always liked Bryson. Maybe I was just ahead of the curve.
Me too. It's just other people seeing it a little bit. Maybe not with Patrick Reed just yet, but with Bryson, obviously he's had this whole sort of personality makeover that, like, to the people close to him isn't a surprise, but this is more to the masses. Even like some of his biggest haters are like, oh yeah, LIV is the best thing that could have happened to Bryson because it really opened him up to do his YouTube thing that has made him a better player. It's made him more affable. It's made him way more popular than he was before. So these things are not coincidental. People can pretend that, like, this would have happened even without LIV. That is a complete lie. It's a complete joke. LIV is the primary reason why all these guys have been able to open up a little bit more. They're not as handcuffed to a lot of the restrictions that they had on the PGA Tour, a lot of this corporatocracy in America that I talk about a lot, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent there. But it's like these things do matter. These things help people become more affable where they don't have these restrictions, and they can have their own YouTube channel. They can go on Rick Shields' YouTube channel. They can go on other people's YouTube channels, Grant Horvat, whoever it is, and really showcase who they are, because you can't really hide who you are in these really long form videos and interviews where the camera's on you the whole time. It's not like a PGA Tour event where you get a small sliver of it.
Red, you actually commented down on Twitter about the benefit. We'll do the exemptions in a moment. But while we're in this area about how perceptions change and whatever else, I think you were very complimentary again today about Rick Shields, about what that offers as insight. So do you want to give a bit on that, Rick? Because I know you do care about that a lot.
No, I think it's very smart. I think you can only get so much from researching these golf courses before they get there, and even still, when you're watching like the qualifier, I watched a bit of that. You're getting these camera angles that are kind of meant for TV, and they don't really show a lot of the golf course. I really think that Rick doing his flyovers, which I hope that translate into the broadcast. I think that's something they need to start adjusting to, is maybe a more steadier hand and not so much quickness through the hole and kind of explaining and setting up the hole for the viewer, but also just the eye level YouTube. Like they're using very nice cameras, don't get me wrong, but I think that's what I try to provide a lot. Like when I go to events, is just the interesting perspective of my iPhone at my eye level, seeing what the golf course looks like, because that's how you're going to see it when you're there. And that's what Rick is able to do. Granted, in the bit I watched, he was left and right a lot. I didn't see a whole lot of the fairway in part of it. I think he hit a few fairways, but he was
sounds like Rick.
Most of the time, like happy with himself that he wasn't in the desert completely. So,
let's touch on that real quick, because I think that's an interesting point. Right.
Yeah.
Have you two played much desert golf?
A little bit.
Yeah, not really. And that's, I gotta say,
coastal.
I really enjoy the style.
More of a coastal elite. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I played a little bit. So we've all played a little bit. Now, I played at Jeddah. Really lovely course. Not sure if you're jealous, but lovely course. Now, I would have thought one of the things you can't do at Jeddah is hit a ball left or right at night time. Having even played, and there were the lights on the back nine at Jeddah, I told you about that, and there was some fun going on with that, but obviously they don't have the front nine. What are they going to do? So I told you both in a bit of an inside scoop I'd got about getting these two guys in. So I've been told, whether this is right or not, but I've been told it'd be a really weird lie for someone to make up in the know to tell me that LIV for the last 3 weeks have been working very closely with two of the guys that organise the tournaments in Dubai at night. So Dubai's got 3 floodlit courses. I think it's 3, maybe 2 fully or 3, but they got a lot there. And there's these 2 guys that run a lot of these tournaments.
Yeah.
That run nighttime tournaments. And they've basically said, hey guys, come work with us for 3 weeks to make sure we don't F this up, to make sure we don't miss anything. Now, how many spotters are they going to have? Because you lose a ball out that darkness, because it does go and it goes fast when it goes, and that comes down. It's going to be hard to keep track. Is it just a series of spotters? Are there floodlights on the ground? I don't know. There's you, Red. Was it you that suggested a caddy's going to have a torch? Rules are excited, just because the shadows.
No, I think that's fair.
Shadows so if they find the ball, they're going to be shadows. They're going to have to caddy have a torch to make sure it's an even lighting.
I think that should be a thing that they should probably incorporate. I don't think that's like a huge ask, and it doesn't take that much light. I've played iPhone golf when it get late and I'm out there with a couple of my friends. We just, the 3 who aren't hitting, stand in a decent configuration and light it. They're going to have, and that's the one thing I will say about this desert golf in the way I find it pretty bland. There's not a lot of ground movement, but what that does allow is you can tell that, you don't need a tower right near you to get that light. It's casting very far. So they're fortunate in that respect that this is clearly designed for this to have night golf. And it's a little flatter. There's not a whole lot of undulation and different things where there's going to be large shadows casted. So I think they have that benefit. But even Rick himself mentioned, I think in Waka when he was interviewing, said like, on one of the holes, I lost one way right. And I don't know if it went in the water or not. I think it did. but I don't, I couldn't tell. And then like that triggered hairs on the back of my neck being like, that is going to be an issue. If that, like we're talking about, something fun here, something different, but it still has to be a competition. There has to be those elements that make sure that everybody's getting the fair playing field. And it's just a concern. I think spotters.
It's real golf. It's not like TGL where you can just have a re-hit and like. Yeah,
I didn't say that, but yes. So I think spotters maybe, especially if there's areas of the golf course,
cliff like that, and then it get dropped on a flat surface of putting, which must be really good for the betting industry.
Thankfully, there's like 0 of these at from what I could see. There's very few built up. The greens kind of have a complex around them, and there's a little movement. But I mean, this is desert golf. Like it is pan flat. I think I looked at a elevation change and it was like less than 20 feet, top to bottom. So.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how it works out. Look, I know that you can bring in as many experts as you want on something, but the execution's got to be there. Like you can, there can be many learnings that you have from other events. Like I know the Ladies European Tour sort of tried it a little bit previously, and it's been a few other events that have been kind of floodlit for a little bit. But I think it's going to be interesting.
Isn't it interesting though? How many events for LIV have we seen all the players get there this early? So they normally get in on a Monday afternoon or Tuesday. Mate, we had them practicing on Saturday.
Yeah,
they were practicing for this in December. Like I have a video of Terrell Hatton playing night golf at Riyadh Golf Club first week of December last year. So we're talking like these guys have been ready for this for a while. So
yeah, well, it's a Thursday start, but
preparation. I think part of that's the preparation. Okay, Tyrrell, do us a favour. Go out and play 6 holes as if this is a tournament against whoever it might be, and let's learn as we go. Yeah. I know you can't learn in the same way.
But like Red was saying previously, kind of we talked about offline was Ironheads might have a huge advantage because they've already played a tournament at. Was it Grass Clippings? Where in Arizona, where they played, was it 9 or 18 holes under the lights?
They played 18
already.
Holes,
18 holes.
It's a par 3, but it's still, they got, I think, important for them to, and like that's what everybody talks about is kind of understanding.
Reading greens.
Yeah, green reading, and then also chipping, which has been something that, that's a good point. Raw mentioned it, Leishman mentioned it, I think, and that's where the torch, I think, was, in my head, was like, if you're at a certain angle and, you're putting a higher wedge over the top of your ball and you can't really see it, maybe just, a simple flashlight to just help cancel out would assist in that, especially like seeing the bottom. But, I think
that depth perception is such a big thing. I was playing on the weekend. I didn't hit a bad wedge the first 17 holes. And on the 18th, it was really dusky and really hard to see. And I found the rough and you just can't see the bottom of the ball.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like they have it short down there, though, too. Like, I don't think this is a turn. Like, if you had US Open rough, like, this would be a no-go.
Forget it.
So.
No, I think it's going to be interesting. I want people to be prepared. Like, I don't think this is going to go off perfectly. I think that there's going to be a lot of learnings that they can sort of take from this for future events. And that's what I'm really interested to learn more about. Like, okay, this is what we expected. What didn't we expect? What are the little things on this course that, like, you need to look out for it? Maybe they've thought of everything. I highly doubt that they've thought of everything at this point. So I'll be really interested. And I'm sure the corrupt golf media will nitpick the little things that happen because that's exactly what they do, because they want to nitpick every little negative thing about LIV. That's part of the reason why I hate them the way that I do. Another story. Right. I'm not going to go off on the seat.
Let's get into the corrupt golf media trying to spin it, and let's get into the exemptions. Now, can I be honest, right? People piss me off. The US Open, Mike 1, good to see something happening. Do I think more could be done? Yes. Tell me you could word that in a more confusing way. The first 1, 2, 3 with exemptions, but not first 1, 2, 3 with exemptions going, like, just tell us what it is. Just put in a sentence. Am I wrong?
I know.
No,
you're right.
I thought it was 3 spots, and then I read it again. I'm like, oh, it's 1 spot for the top 3, otherwise exempt.
But what does that even mean? So it's anyone that's exempt.
1 spot is available, and it goes to the first guy. And if he's exempt, it goes to the second guy. If he's exempt, it goes to the third guy. And if he's exempt, it goes to nobody.
Yeah, that's where. So yeah, this.
For people on the podcast,
I mean, they couldn't even.
People, hang on, for people on audio only, I'd put my bald head in my hand. I'm rubbing it, and I'm just not.
It could have been extended to at least like the top 5 for that kind of procession, because you're talking about basically they're counting on the, Bryson and Rahm and Brooks maybe to just suck up those spots, and it doesn't matter to them anymore. They are giving them the if the top 10 you get through to the 36-hole qualifier, they don't have to go through local, which is a nice little caveat. But
so explain that to the audience. I did get that bit. I understood that because it was written in an actual sentence.
So most of the time, if you don't have a certain OWGR standing, which most of these guys probably do anyways, because I think it's like 300 or it's pretty high number.
It's 500.
Yeah. So you if you're below that point, which some unfortunately guys are, they would have to go to a local qualifier, then to a sectional qualifier. Now they are basically permitted to just go right to the sectional. But again, this is not going to implicate a lot of these guys who are the better players. So their thinking is like, this is a bone. And it's, at first I was like, okay, at least there's an acknowledgement. I think that's an important step. And I think we have to say thank you in a way to Mike Whan and the USGA. But at the same time, like, it's kind of like a backhanded, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like your parents saying you're not grounded.
I'm not saying thank you,
but you can't.
No, not at all. No. There's a couple things. So, 2026 is actually going to be 2 spots. So there's going to be the season long winner from this year, and then through the first 7 events of next year, it's going to be, or it's through May, where they're going to do kind of the same.
It's post PGA is what I think they're drawing the line, because that's exactly basically when that is.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That's fine. My problem is, and I've been talking about this for a while on this podcast, on our spaces, whatever it is. We already knew back in April of last year that the majors were going to have some sort of exemptions, some sort of special invitations for top LIV players. The Masters have already done it with Waco. The PGA has already done it with Waco and Sergio Garcia. A shout out to them. It's great to see. My problem is I knew this wasn't going to be enough. And I wanted to mentally start preparing people when I found this out. Like, yes, they're going to throw LIV a bone here, except it's not going to be nearly enough for any LIV fan. Like, I don't think any LIV fan is entirely happy with this. And I think that this is just another spoke in the wheel. It's one of those things, because I talk about how corrupt the golf establishment is. Like, I think that this is one of those things where they are actually, again, trying to push LIV into conforming to the OWGR. They want most of the people to qualify for these majors to qualify through the OWGR. I heard Mike Whan talk about it. I've heard enough people to talk about this to know that it's true. They have a huge problem with LIV's relegation and sort of how that works. All 3 of us have a huge problem with the way LIV's relegation works right now. So that was part of the reason why they dropped the OWGR application last year, because they have all this logistical stuff. They knew they weren't going to be able to qualify for it because you got relegated players coming back and all that stuff. My thing with them is that they really need to get in a room and figure this out. Like, I'm so sick and tired of the OWGR and their excuses and their nonsense that they need to. But now that LIV has a new CEO that's a little bit more affable towards the golf establishment, I want them to sit in a room and figure this the frick out. Like, they need to figure this out. I hate the fact that we're continuing to talk about this crap 2-3 years later. We've got to figure this out now. Like, if LIV is going to conform to the OWGR, just figure it out now. And I think now that we're moving into this time period where a lot of the contracts are coming up, a lot of the captains are getting older, they are trying to force LIV to have a certain amount of relegation because the players are sort of fall out of the league. As things stand now, they don't really have a lot of options in terms of where they can't go back to the PG Tour. A lot of them have given up their European Tour standing. that's where this deal is still so important. Like, they have to figure out this deal and all the logistics, because they have to give a lot of these guys a soft landing spot to come back to the PGA Tour if they want. Right now, they don't have that as an option. So there's all these little things that are like part of this like puzzle that you just have to keep thinking through, that like, oh, why is the golf establishment doing this now? It's because they're trying to get LIV to conform to what they want them to conform. They want to have this relegation because that in turn forces LIV and the PIF to sort of cave on some of the stuff in the deal. Like, this is all one big negotiation. And it's one of the things that makes me really, really angry, and something that I just want them to figure out, because we've been talking about this for so long. Like, we just need to figure this out. So if LIV is going to say, look, we're never going to do OWGR stuff, that's fine. Like, just tell us exactly that's what we're going to do. If we're going to try to work it out, try to work it out.
I think the big problem, though, too, is like, and again, I agree with you, they need to get in a room, but the biggest issue is that LIV is not just talking to the PGA Tour. They're now basically, what this is saying is, we already know this, is the establishment is working together in a conjunction to kind of push back against LIV. So the reality is like, they need to make sure they have everybody in the room and all these different, stakeholders. And I hear, if you listen to Mike Wan talk about the ball changes, he can't even get a fucking consensus on that. And so, like, there's all these different things. Like, you guys, a lot of them don't even really want to work together. A lot of them are claiming they don't want to work together because it only behooves them, working against LIV. So it's very difficult to,
There's a lot of lying. There's a lot of deception. There's a lot of things that I loathe about the golf establishment that I talk about all the time, which ruffles a lot of feathers with a lot of different people. But it's like, look, I've already established those are two of the things that I hate most. So if you're going to keep doing that, I'm going to keep hating on you, because like I refuse to deal with these lies and just like lack of transparency. Like, they just have to figure this out. Like, it's not that complicated. Like, if the three of us got in a room and sort of like thought through this, we would have a solution for the OWGR and LIV like tomorrow.
But you say that, right? But you got to remember, there are dishonest actors in here. So this deal, this whole issue is meant to be between the PGA Tour and LIV. But OWGR, because of the fact they're bought and paid for by PGA Tour, came in and said, hey, be on our team. And they would do a job, and okay, rather than doing what our job is, and if you don't like me going on about it, I'm sorry, but go on Companies House, Companies House UK, and search OWGR, go into their Article Association where they set up the company. I'll post it online 1,000 or 10, 15 times. It states in there their job is to rank professional golfers for the tournaments they play in based on a range of criteria. And the criteria includes many different things the PGA Tour don't rate on. This is political. We know that. And then obviously Mike Wan, he likes getting his couple of free days at the Players Championship and bringing 6 mates to sit.
He's a politician. He's the ultimate politician.
That's what I'm saying. But they like their days. Seth Wall loves his day out with the players. They all love their little day out and their few free rounds. I know some of them taking it, but it's that simple. Same. Yeah, they do it for Jay. Oh, Jay, can you do this for us? Can you do this for me? It's nonsense. At the end of the day, Mike Wan and Seth Wall, their job is to put on the best tournament with the best players. They don't care about that. They care about the politics. So, Jay, I'm going to flat disagree with you. Us three get in a room and work it out, and they don't want it. Yeah. They don't want it.
That's why they're dishonest actors. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I said. We couldn't work it out because no matter what we did, they don't want it. And I tell you what will happen. Scott's going to end up doing something with the OWGR to get ranking, and he'll get it agreed, and they'll get a paltry amount of points. Like
guaranteed.
The top 8. If you finish top 8 in LIV standings at the end of the year, you'll end up with like 4.5 points, and you'll just break into the top 100. They're going to make it so. Well, you wanted OWGR points. Look, we've given them to you. What more are you complaining about, Jay? For someone who's as open, who's out on it as you are, I can't believe that you have any faith at all that anyone can sort anything out. They're dishonest actors.
No, I don't have any faith. That's the thing. I don't have any faith. If we were dealing with people that were honest about this, transparent, and like actually wanted to have a golf establishment that was open to this new cool thing that's like growing a game around the globe, like bringing golf to India. We haven't even talked about the International Series India that like is like literally growing the game of golf before our eyes. Like, and that would not have happened without LIV Golf. No. So I need to see some acknowledgement from the golf establishment that that's exactly what LIV and the PIF are doing, because that's something they've yet to fully recognize. They've been tiptoeing around this issue for far, far too long. I need them to be honest. I need them to be accountable. I need them to stop lying to people about this, because that's the thing that drives me crazy.
Yeah. I think the dishonest actor thing is hitting the nail on the head, though, because I even think this, and announcing it today, was intentional to suck up some of the air that was around LIV launching.
Of course it was.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And, they've
we spent all this time talking about it, too, instead of the actual golf tournament, instead of the LIV season.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. We're done. We're not talking about it anymore. Right, that's it. So, Red, you want us to do fantasy golf, don't you? So, for the viewers, Pro Golf Critic has an addictive personality. He is not allowed to do fantasy league, because then otherwise ends up spending far too much time doing it, don't you, Jay? So you just don't do it.
I mean, that's part of it. The thing that people don't realize is that I was so deep into fantasy sports for so long. Like I started playing fantasy sports when I was like 12 years old. And I had a really good track record. So it set a very high standard that I had to maintain. And it was things like that take up way too much time. I'm way too competitive with that stuff. And it's like, I'm just not going to be part of it. Trust me, I understand the appeal of it. I understand all that. I am actively choosing not to participate in any fantasy stuff. It's not LIV, it's not golf, it's not other sports. It's all fantasy. I'm out on all fantasy. I'm not saying that everybody else should be. I'm just saying that me personally, I'm out on it. Go ahead.
We respect you for that. And this is not something where we're even wagering dollars. I think we're going to try to figure out a prize, maybe something as simple as a hat or a shirt of a team of your choosing by the end of the season, just something fun. But I wanted to open up for anybody who's a listener, and I'm just going to tweet it out too. Just, kicking it around. And I think it adds a lot of engagement. And it's a lot of fun to me, but I know that some people it's not. And if it's not your thing, don't worry about it. But yeah, we're going to have a GLU LIV Golf Fantasy League. So feel free to join. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I know a lot of other people do them too. And how LIV works is if you have one team, it goes to all the leagues. So you can join as many leagues as you want, set up one with your friends, so on and so forth. But I think it's a nice little ad to kind of put some stakes in for yourself. You get to design your teams. They have changed it this year. Last year it was you picked a captain, then 3 other normal players. Now they're kind of going to use a system, I believe, that's more similar to other fantasy, where they rank the players and you get to choose inside the groups of which player at group 1 that's high ranked players you get, so on and so forth. So you also choose a team, which that's also fun as well. So highly encourage anybody who wants to come and play. We will figure out everything as we go. And it's always open. If you're listening to this late, don't worry about it. You can make up points easily just by having a good week. So if you're listening to this next week, you want to join for Adelaide, come on over. That's my spiel.
Yeah, it's good.
So
I don't really have anything to add to that.
I think they need to get behind it more as LIV itself, but they also actually, when you are doing it on LIV, you get to compete with the whole league that's everybody else.
Okay.
And
let me get stuck into LIV on this.
Big grand prizes.
You're being kind. I'll get stuck into LIV on this. I shouldn't have to come out to the app and go online, re-enter my password and my username, and look for fantasy. It should be in the app. It's absolutely basic as hell. Now, spoiler alert, I love LIV, but LIV are making it very hard to interact with them. There have been updates. I've had 4 or 5 mandated updates to the app in the last 2 weeks. Great, they're deploying new tech. Great, get it. Not a problem. we've got rumours about having to pay for it. We've got screenshots of people saying they have to pay for it. Now that's gone away. Now in America, that's not even there. We never had that over here. Kevin had issues with his app, with the thing to be paying for, and then got a mandated update, and then that went away. Like, and Kev's based in Scotland. Like, we've had all sorts of weird stuff going on. Just make the app work. You've had 4 months. You've got millions of pounds, billions. Just make the app work. Make Live Fantasy, because I tell you what, Red, they will talk about Live Fantasy. I'll give you the over-under 46.5. How many times mentioned in 3.5 days?
Yeah, they referenced it a lot on the broadcast, for sure.
I'll give you over-under 46.5 from the beginning of the broadcast through to the end, and including the golf in the middle. So you're going to mention something 46.5 times, you better make sure it's on the app. And then Live are making it really hard to love, to work with them, to buy stuff and to do things. And they've invented this new Live fan thing, Live X, where you answer questions and you do like a version of Wordle. Have you seen that?
The one where you pick a team?
Yeah, it provides you with like a team page.
No. So if you go into your Live app now, and then this is Live X on here. So under Live X now, I've got the ability to play Wordle and gain Live fan points.
You know what? I have not seen that yet.
So if you click your initials, top right hand corner of the app, then you go to Live X, like you can get Live fan points and you can redeem points in the shop, and and you play guess the Live Guest Master.
It's a great idea.
You've got
I wish I knew about it.
Yeah.
There you.
I set you up on that one. I totally
But that's the point.
No,
tell me about it.
Yeah,
I agree. I just want to make this one quick point.
Jerry and Suan can only do so much in their podcast. Like, come on our podcast. Come on the podcast. Give us stuff to talk about. Let's talk about, hey, these are the 6 things we've got planned. Did you know we got this in the Live app? No. I've not spoken to anyone in 48 hours that knew if you clicked your initial top right corner and click Live X, there's a Live quiz on there. You can get points and win prizes.
No, I agree. Look, if I was sitting down with Scott O'Neill and there was one thing that I could tell him, hey, like I've been in the Live fan, we're three of the foremost people in the Live fan community. Like we have a finger on the pulse of what's going on there. Like I would tell them the number one thing that every single person messages me and tweets me about is that they wish they knew more about the plans and what's going on. Like I have tried to do my best, but it's like, look, this is not a full-time job for us. This is not something that we can dedicate 60 hours a week towards, even though I try to. But it's like, it's not something that I could do. Like, it's something that they need to really rally the troops on this. Like, they really need to start, like, really honing in on, hey, these are our long-term plans, whether it be a year out, 6 months, 3 months, whatever. Like, these are the things that we have on the roadmap. Like, that's the thing. And maybe they need to have like a monthly call with like people like us. Maybe they have like a creators like council, kind of like what the PGA Tour has, to like try to get some of this information out. Like, because if you're not going to have the corporate corrupt golf media do this for you, you need to have some other ways to get this out. Like I have so much information in terms of things that I've gleaned from various people from the course of time, but it's like, it's one thing if it comes from me. It's another thing if it comes from like an official Live source, official Live communicate that we can broadcast. Like that's really what I think everybody's asking for. Because every time I post something, it's like, oh, that's a rumor. It's unsubstantiated. Yeah, some of it is, but like I always say exactly if it's a rumor or not. If I know for a fact it's happening, like when I posted about, Live probably going under the lights 2 months ago in Riyadh. Like that was something that we had heard for months. We had heard that since Saudi last year. So, and then it finally came out and finally, except like, I wish we had more of the stuff on the roadmap because it just equips the day one Live supporters, the bleeding edge Live supporters with the right amount of information so that we can broadcast this to everybody else.
Yeah.
That's really what I think everybody's looking for.
I mean, a lot of the information I've gotten in the last couple of weeks is, I got to shout him out, Live Golf Buff, who spends way too much time on the livegolf.com. But, I got to shout him out, like, because he is on the ball with getting these things. I swear it's like his homepage, and he's pulled a couple of these things out, and it's like no one even put that in my email. They have my email. They know where to find me, and I'm hearing it from him, and it's it's fine. Like I'm happy that he's doing the job he is, because without that, there'd not be as much exposure for some of this stuff. But at the same time, like, how is that not at the forefront of their communication effort to be like, okay, we're gonna push this, and then the Mike's gonna release something on the page and immediately needs to go out on socials. Like, that's like day one stuff, and that it is concerning. And I'm sure there's people switching back and forth, and I know they have a lot of things to do. And honestly, I don't think they've had as much help in this space as they've had. I think going forward it will be more intentional, but it's tough. Yeah,
we've already seen some improvements, particularly with the LIV socials. They're definitely clearly up leveling some of the stuff, whether it be the teams or
the teams.
The official LIV chat. Yeah, the teams are definitely, like, all this stuff is like, I mean, it's getting there. We just want this to get there a little bit faster, a little bit clearer. And I know that they've been going through a ton of changes. Like, I understand, like, when a new CEO comes on board and there's a whole new C-level suite of people, like, I understand that takes time. We're just asking for that to happen a little bit faster. You need to engage more of the people out there to, like, really start broadcasting this stuff. That's one of the things that I think all of us, like, if you were to poll people in the LIV fan community about this, I mean, it would be what, 95% of people like, yeah, like, we need more communication. We need more clarity. We do need more transparency. And I am a huge advocate of transparency in media, in sports, and all that. Everybody knows that. I think we're at the point now where we need to start holding LIV a little bit more accountable to this too. So, and I think that's something that's really, really important to me. It's important to a lot of the people in the fan community, that, like, we just have to start tying. 2025 is the year that we've got to get this right. Like, there's so much on the line now that, like, we've had a few beta test seasons. We've been slowly building. 2025, new leadership team, new plan, the sponsors coming in, teams getting sponsorships, all that other stuff, all the stuff that we've been talking about for so long is right here. Yeah. 2025 is the year we got to get it right.
Can I ask either of you, when was the first time you heard that all 4 scores are going to count? Because that could have not been.
We heard that when we were playing around at golf, but
I'm not blaming you for not telling it, because obviously you were told in confidence, and that's fine. But at the same time,
we were told in confidence. We were told, do not tell anyone. And to our credit, did we tell anyone?
No, but
no. But how many times are we told to, like, not tell people about this stuff? And it's like,
what I would love.
That's the thing. We gotta stop doing that.
It starts on Thursday.
I'm gonna put this out here now. Look, and we clip this up. When we're told by someone at LIV not to tell anyone anything, we don't share it, right?
100%.
So why not give you and I a list of things and say, hey guys, you can now share this. Go. There's LIV X on the golf app. Great, chat about it. 4 scores counting, great. And this goes back to my rant last week. Yeah. LIV and the PGA Tour and TGL, they're all so precious about their news drop. Do you know what? People just want to know it's happening. There's no one's got, oh my God, I must ring my mum. LIV have got all 4 scores counting. Look, people just want to know it. Nothing's a big drop. TGL, oh my God, we're now... Please, someone, get someone on the phone. I need to let somebody know that they can now have mishit. Well, they have to have mishits because keep having misreads. So, but they've got to get this preciousness about news drops. Get the news out there to people. Do you know what news you keep to yourself when you have a news drop? Rick Shields coming on. John Rahm signing. Tom McKibben signing. Keep that. Have that. That's your big news drop. But LIV X having a quiz where you can win prizes, let people know. Yeah. The fantasy, changing how it works, let people know. Tell us this stuff and we'll get it out there. Because you're not getting out there, LIV.
Yeah. And then there's people out there that are going to leak it anyway. Like, I mean, there's certain people out there that find out information. They're just, like the town crier. Not going to name any names, but it's like when they find out information, they're just, blabbering about it on social, on podcast, whatever it is. So it's like, we don't really want to do that. Like, I have no incentive to do that anymore. Like, I don't. So, and I've been guilty of doing that in the past, 100%. Except it's just not something that I get a lot of incentive out of. And then, like, a lot of it really falls on them, unfortunately. So it's like we just got to figure this stuff out. I think that there's a great opportunity. 2025 is such an opportunity for them to like capture because there's so many PGA Tour fans that are like completely disgusted with the PGA Tour product, and it's like you just keep gaining fans, and it's like you do need to do a couple things here and there to help.
People who want to watch Bryson, people who want to watch Rahm, they're going to be coming over, not in droves maybe, but the trickle needs to be sustained, and they need to welcome it and not have anything blocking it.
Was it Finto? Finto 23. I think he's a guy who's been pretty anti-live at times, and he's not a bad bloke, but he's a bit anti-live.
Not bad. I blocked him a few times, but shout out Finto. I think we've come to an agreement over the last 2 years. So yeah,
but it was very interesting. He sent me. He comes on my thing and said, "Look," he said, "I think all these PGA Tour fans that are trying to ridicule the Tom McKibben signing have got just showing how little they know about golf."
Yes,
they said Tom McKibben's maybe a top 3 young golfer worldwide, not just DP World Tour, and he's gonna he said, I will now be watching LIV. He said, I think he said to me, he's watched like 3 hours or something before. Or that was an older comment, but he's watched very little of it. And he said, I'll now be watching LIV because of Tom McKibben. And he said, I am not going to be the only one.
Yep, 100%. It was a great signing. It's an A+ signing for them, for sure.
Right. Yeah. And those
it's not an A+ name in the grand scheme of names. Of course it isn't. But it's an A+ signing.
A+ chess move. Yeah.
And it will be an A+ signing in the world of names in 3 years' time. They'll go, shite, you got him, did you?
Ben, how does it now work for you guys in the UK? Are you on a Fox channel, or how is that operating?
For God's sake, mate, we've discussed this before when you said to me ages ago, remember? That was a clip I had. Why don't you go watch on Bleach Report?
We were talking about the showdown, but I've
got Instagram. Americans don't have pissed me off talking about TV channels. No, we don't have Fox over here.
So what? Who's your provider? Or how are you guys?
LIV app.
So you only have it on the LIV app. That's the only way you
LIV app and YouTube, yeah. Because the corrupt PGA Tour made it very clear that the Sky Sports weren't allowed to show LIV.
I'm sure about that, yeah.
And they weren't allowed to show LIV. They weren't allowed to do a deal with. They were told they were not allowed to do a deal with LIV.
Yeah.
They'll deny it, but
not surprised at all.
Reportedly, and I've been told by two different people that Sky were told they could not do a deal with LIV at all.
Yeah,
LIV were happy to give them the product for free, and they were told they couldn't show it.
So Kevin's anxiety, who lives in Scotland, he's anxious about not being able to access it through the LIV app, because if he doesn't have that, there's nowhere else we can really get it.
Well, we can get it on YouTube and the LIV app, so they'll just shut it down regionally. I don't see anything happening, but if they turn around and said to me, Ben, you've got to pay $45 to have LIV for the year,
I would 100% pay that in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, it's fine. I'm not complaining about the price. It's more just like let me know when. Like if I have to get my credit card out at 10 a.m. tomorrow, I'm gonna be ripshit. I'm sorry, it's just annoying. Like I could have. I've been sitting next to my computer online shopping.
You watch on Fox. You'll watch on Fox, won't you?
No, I won't. No. I'll watch LIV Golf.
This is where I've been complaining about the TV. Yeah, Red and I complain about the TV stuff all the time.
I thought you still watched on Fox.
The problem is it's not just on Fox. It's not just on Fox. It's on
the cock.
It's on four. Yeah, it's on 4 different networks. So it's like it's going to start out on like FS2, then it moves to FS1. Some of them are going to be on Fox. Some of them are going to be on Fox Business. That's the thing that I, even though I was excited LIV got this TV deal, because I think that it is going to get
How are Americans known for eating crap and sitting in front of TV, and you can't even get TV right?
No, honestly, it's a huge problem, which is part of the reason why I tell everybody that like streaming is the future, because people are fed up with how things are broadcast in the United States. Like I can't think of one person that I talked to. My brother, shout out Sean, he listens to this podcast. He's a huge NBA guy. He hates the way NBA is broadcast. Like it used to be really easy to find your favorite team and watch them and all that. it is such a disorganized mess, especially in local markets for some of these teams. And like, it's a huge revenue generator for them. I get it. Except that's where having a one-stop shop app is like such a huge, huge advantage. And it's something LIV, they need to keep, even if there is a nominal fee for it, because all the day one bleeding edge LIV supporters, 90+% are just going to get it. So exactly.
What's the number then? What's the number where you go, shoo, that's too much for my blood?
Fair number?
Yeah.
I think probably anything in that $30 to $60 range for the year is fine.
Yeah.
I think if you start...
I think once you go past 60, you're taking them in.
Yeah, once you go by 100, I mean, it depends. Again, I really love LIV Golf Plus and the ability to watch any golf, any shot, anytime. I plug in,
Same.
I get 6 screens up. Like, I'm an absolute weirdo. I can't even watch all the golf that I have available. But that's why I also have a screen that I have on delay. So then when the normal broadcast, if something happens, I can then look up and watch that because I'm usually over here. Like, listen,
that's a great idea.
I don't recommend. Oh yeah, it's awesome. I don't recommend being a weirdo like I am. But if you are and you want to pay for that privilege, just the same way I used to pay and people have commented before, the ABC app or the NBC app. It used to come with other stuff too, whatever. But I used to pay $60 so I could watch Thursday, Friday like coverage because that was never an option until they brought NBC Gold. And so like that's, if you are just providing this to your consumers, and it makes sense because that feed's already on anyways. I mean, they do a hell of a job.
Yeah.
I want to be able to watch it, let people watch it. I think a lot of people who are, again, in the fantasy and the betting community, like the fact that they don't understand it, and I've had it out with some of them, and like, they don't have Shot Tracer. It's not even as good as it's like, I don't need fucking Shot Tracer when I can watch it happen with my own fucking eyes. Excuse my language, but like, it drives me nuts. Like,
I think I've sworn maybe 3 times on this podcast. Red, you said drop the F-bomb 3 times today.
It drives me crazy. I'm like, listen, like the amount of times I've sat there refreshing my shot tracker to watch the bubble move across the golf hole
100%.
is like, let me purchase the ability to watch this. It makes no sense the PGA Tour has not caught on to this yet. Thankfully, they're finally advancing themselves to this point because LIV's pushed them there. That's why I've always been pro LIV, because they're going to get them out of bed and shake the hell out of them and cause them to actually give a heck.
You're talking about getting out of bed. This bold prick needs to get into bed.
I know.
He's 23.
We haven't talked about the actual golf on the golf course yet. We're almost an hour over.
He's 23.53. All right.
We're putting the good stuff at the back. The picks always go at the back, so that everybody stays on.
I don't think we actually need to talk about Riyadh tournament too much. I'm going to give you my 60-second on the course. I think the course looks fun. I think the course looks interesting. It didn't wow me in the qualification events. I want to see more of the course, but I don't know what I want to see that is going to wow me. I think the novelty and the fun of it being a night event will probably be enough to carry it.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
That's an interesting take. And I've seen a few things that I'm going to reserve judgment until I actually see it. I feel like the condition of the course, not great. So
something's up with the
one
greens.
thing that makes me a little nervous. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, something's up with the greens. I mean, you can tell even with the lights still on, and I don't know if that's part of what they want. They just look newer, and they're verticutting, which you can see it. Like it looks like the ball is not going to roll at all, and it's going to be very poor. But all of Rick's putts were fine. I was inspecting them, like particularly because of the visually. You're like, damn, that looks horrible. But it looked exactly the same way in the qualifier. I'm not sure how they haven't had it grow in more since then, but it seems like they have a handle on it to the point where at least it's a smooth surface and it's gonna be able to have the tournament. But it does visually, it doesn't look as appealing as I think. Again, Royal Greens, I'm gonna miss, honestly. Like other than like Ben said, the fact this is at night is very cool. I appreciate that fact. It's gonna draw more people there because it is in Riyadh and it's the capital. But it's just not. I mean.
Yeah, the condition of Royal Greens is, like we've been told by very many players that LIV, like the condition of Royal Greens is one of the best condition of golf courses they've ever played on. Yeah. So
it's got the wind too. That's another thing I'm really how the wind's going to come out. And then also I know that we're going over time here, but I would look And it's going to be interesting how some of the guys play because it's going to get cold. The desert once the sun goes down, it's freezing. So this is
I've checked the temperature. I've checked the temperature. It's 11. It's the lowest it's going to get to is 10 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So for you Americans and your weird system, that's 50.
So like 50 something? Yeah.
That's 50 exactly. So the coldest it's going to get is 50.
We're going to get some of those really great Legion 13 Grayson hoodies that I'm trying to. Oh, those are sharp.
I'm still not sure I'm willing to spend $280 on one.
Well,
so like
trying to
Grayson,
trying to get us a few. Trying to get us a few for sure.
Yeah. I'll take my Ripper ones. They look much better. They're just very normal.
Oh yeah, Ripper is Grayson. Yeah, like honestly, if Legion wants me to commit, like we got my Christian's hoodie on now. I've obviously got my Four Aces hat here as well. No.
I've been cycling a few through tonight.
Yeah. Should I cycle in the Legion hat for the?
You guys change hats just as much as Rory changes his mind. That's what's going on here.
Right.
Do we just want to like so
that's tempting. Like for our own fantasy thing, I said to Jay that I would like to do a very brief one for each event and an overall one for the year. Now, can you write this down, Red? Because I haven't told Jay. I'll pick mine first to give you some clues. All we're going to do for this week is pick a player and a team. But once you've picked that player, and that's why you've got to keep track, Red, you can't pick them again for the season. They're off the table. Yeah. So I want
to add one thing to the end of it, but let's do this first, and then I will give you something at the end of it.
And then we'll do our season one. And when we do our season one, you've got to pick one player, one rookie.
Mm-hmm. I want to pick instead. We can do the rookies. I want to pick someone that we are purchasing stock in, and someone that we're selling. So it's a little buy and sell.
Okay,
buy a player, sell a player. You know,
it's almost like we copy the Colin Coward podcast. Like,
does he do that?
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, it's not that original, honestly.
Yeah, and also if you're going to copy a sports broadcasting podcast, maybe the one that's got the highest rating viewing figures in America is a good one to take away from.
I think it was probably like Around the Horn that started the buy sell thing, but that's neither here nor there. Only the hardcore Americans will know Around the Horn. But
so we're going to do just for the minute this week. Mm-hmm. Player and team. Once you pick that player and once you pick that team, they are off the cards. Okay?
All right, who's going first? Ben?
Yeah. I'm going to go first. My player for this week is none other than the John Rahm.
Okay.
But now I can't pick him ever again.
I was going to say, you're going now.
My team for this week. So the points you're going to get, Red, are 10 points for first, 6 points for second, 2 points for third. And that's for team and for the individual. 10, 6, and 2. And my team is Torquay.
Mm.
And now I've used them, I can't do them again. And Red, maybe we can put this in a nice little spreadsheet and put it up each week and just see where we are.
Yeah, we'll have some fun with it. Jay, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, sure, I can go. I'm going to go a little bit off. I'm going to go off board here because I'm going to pick a team that, like, normal circumstances, there's no way I'm picking this team. 0% chance I'm picking.
But you've got to pick every team once with this rule. That's the thing.
I know. That's exactly why I'm picking them now to get this out of the way because I think they have just the slightest advantage in this particular event. I'm picking Ironheads GC. I think they are going to surprise people at Riyadh. I feel like they have a little, like I mentioned earlier, they have a little bit of experience under the lights. I honestly think Kevin Na, I think he's trending up. I think Yubin Jang is going to surprise people. Like I think
Yubin Jang is. I think he's going to be
the real deal
beast.
He's the real deal.
Like when you got your pick your rookie in a minute. I'm not saying I don't like Ketchup. I don't like Schneidlins. Schneidlins technically isn't a rookie because he's not actually. He's just standing in this week.
Yeah. You can still pick him. He's going to get a lot of points.
How can you look past Yang and how can you look past Yubin Jang and how can you look past Tom McKibben when we've got to pick our rookie in a minute? Now that is going to be a tough pick.
Yeah. So and then the player
and for my player, I've got to shout him out too. I am going to go with Dustin Johnson. I feel like DJ, he's been hearing a lot of this chatter about sort of him like not practicing as hard as he used to and how he's washed up and all this other stuff. I honestly think DJ is I think he's very, very motivated, even though I know he missed the cut in the Saudi International 2 months ago. I feel like it seems like he's hitting it really, really well in practice. I want to see him. I know he's going to win at some point this year. It might as well be the first event. Like, he has this crazy streak of winning at least one event every year for basically the last, I think it's like 17 years or something like that. It's like crazy, crazy numbers. 16, I think it's 16 years, and if he wins this year, it'll be 17. I think he's going to continue it. I think he's going to start early. I think that I could definitely see him winning at Jeddah. Riyadh.
I'm doing too.
I made the same mistake just because he has one in Jeddah before. But no, I think he's going to play well in Saudi. I think that he responds really well at desert golf. He obviously won Vegas last year, a desert course. Kind of sort of desert course. It's in the desert.
Parallels. I think there's parallels.
Yeah, some parallels. Yeah, so I'm going to go DJ and I'm going Ironheads.
Okay. And I'll just make mine quick because I'm actually going right off the bat. I'm going for same captain, same team, and I'm going to go with none other than what we're dubbing the Crown Prince himself, Joaquin Niemann, who could possibly be walking away with his third title here. And yeah, I just think he seems to really enjoy desert golf. He did well there last year and then won the Saudi International here. What was that, 4 months ago? Like, not.
It was only 2 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the end of beginning of December. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I just think he's going to bring his game. He's been playing a lot. I think he's going to come in ready and kind of on a tear. So he's my number one. And I'm getting this pick off early, but I believe in his sharpness right now, and I think he's going to attack this golf course pretty damn well. So
you're going for Torquay as your team?
Yeah, Torquay. It's kind of same thing. Also, Mito, Seb, all launchers. I just expect them to kind of be there and putting. I don't think the green speeds are going to be crazy quick, so I'm hoping that their putting is kind of going to come to play. This seems like a course too, very similar to Florida, where he did pretty well for Seb. So I just think it's kind of.
I'm a little worried about Mito still. Like, the way he played last year, and there were a few events that I expected him to play in. Like, basically every member of Torquay was playing in the International Series India last week, and he was the only one that didn't play. So I have a little bit of hesitation, like what's going on with Mito Pereira. I have no idea. And he's going to have to prove it. Like, I think he's going to finish at the bottom of the standings again, which is part of the reason why I'm not going to pick Torquay until I know where he's at. So
I'm not buying stock in Mito, but I have him higher on my big board than I actually expected myself to. But
my logic was that pick Mito while his head thinks it's all good.
Yeah.
If he has a bad few days out, then it could be in his own head, and that could be it. Right. How do you want to do this whole of season thing? Because I think you've got to pick two players normally, and a rookie. We don't need to pick a team unless you want to pick a team, but I think just 3 players.
No, we can pick a team too. Let's pick a team too. Why not?
All right. I'll go first. My team is Legion 13. I'm sorry.
Can we all pick the same team, or is it like once somebody picks
snake draft?
Okay.
So I've gone first for team, so I'll go last on the next one. So Legion 13 is gone, so you got to pick a different team.
Okay. Yeah, you stole my team. So all right, I guess I'll go next. I will go with. I'll go Crushers. I think Crushers are gonna. I think they're going to be consistent. I think Paul Casey. I'm buying stock in Paul Casey this year. I think he's going to be really, really, really good. I think Bryson's going to have a better season than he had last year. Hopefully Charles Howell stays healthy. That's kind of like the one question mark that I'm not sure about. And I think Lahiri, you pretty much know what you're going to get. And now with all 4 scores counting, like I really do feel like Crushers. I did see a stat where if they applied the all four scores counting to last year's results, Crusher still would have been the number one team. The only difference in the top three is I think Ripper would have been 2, and then Legion would have been 3 because they did have, a couple players that kind of struggle a little bit in very well timed times where their scores dropped out. So now that they don't drop out, even though Legion's obviously upgraded with Tom McKibben, I still think that some of these guys, it takes them a little longer to adjust. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I am going to stick with that choice.
Those are my 1 and 2 on my rankings of where they are, and then I'm just
okay.
Going to
you get to go first next for the normal.
I'm just going to pick 3 for Rip. I'm just going to pick Ripper. I think just kind of run it back. I think there's a lot of room for improvement from Lucas. I think he played fairly well last year, but I think he can even play even better, especially now that he's more comfortable. Cam, same thing. I think he's only improving. I think he's ready for the season. He looks 10 times healthier than he did by the last year.
He's lost weight, looks stronger.
He looks really good. He's got that workout video they put out. I was like, that is really nice to see. I don't think he could have done any of those exercises at the start of the season last year. So that's going to save a lot of time of the build-up. I think Adelaide too, right? It's just going to lead in that. And then you've got kind of steady players in your Matt Jones. I still don't think he's going to excel, but I think he's going to put in things that rounds that help the team in a way, at least not hurt them, which is all you can really ask for. And then Mark, I think Mark's the same way. I think Mark is a very good player, and he's still got a little bit of that power left, and he's going to do just fine. So 4 scores counting.
So you get to go first. You get to go first on player.
So player for the whole year.
You're going to get to pick 2 players. So the top 6 players, in our opinion, will be going out, and then we're going to do the rookies at the end. So.
I'm going to pick him right off the bat. I'm just going to go Bryson. I think he's going to have an actual good year on LIV this year, and majors will still be there too. Maybe he picks up one, maybe he doesn't. But I actually think he's going to really look at trying to do this. So
fair.
Jay,
I think it's predictable who my next pick is going to be. I'm going John Rahm. I think John Rahm had a great year last year towards the end. Like, actually, the season played out pretty much exactly how I expected it to. Like, it was going to take him a while to find his footing, and then by like that back half of the season, he was slowly elevating to the John Rahm we all know, won a couple of events. And I think it's going to be the same this year. I think adding on top of that, I have said 2025 he is going to win a major, and I feel very, very confident about that. So I got Rambo with my first pick.
I'm going to take with my pick. I'm torn. I'm really torn. I know whoever I pick, the other one's going to be taken for next. I'm going to go Wacko Neiman.
Good choice. Good choice. Yeah, you got to go with him.
It's Jay's turn to pick first now, then mine, then Red.
I'm keeping the hat on, so that gives you some sort of indication who I'm going to pick. I'm going to go Terrell Hatton. I
was between Terrell and Wacko.
Yeah.
I was between Terrell and Wacko.
No, I would have picked the other one. I would have picked Wacko if you picked Terrell. So,
yeah.
No, I think Terrell Hatton, like, he is hitting the prime of his career. Like, he's another one. I think he's going to compete in majors. I think he's going to win an event. I think he's going to be a top 5 player on LIV for sure. And I just think he's hitting his stride. I think that no one has responded better to being on LIV than Terrell Hatton. And I think that this is like a huge, because he gets I don't think Terrell Hatton ever wanted to move to the United States. Like, I just get the feeling he wanted to kind of stay in the UK and sort of do that whole thing. And I think, and spend time in the Middle East and all that. And I think he's able to live the life that he wants to live on LIV. That might be a new slogan, by the way. And I think that's like a really important thing. And I think that he's elevated. I think he's going to have another great year. And like, he's 100% finishing top 10. I think it's likely he's top 5, and he could even finish top 3. So he's a solid player.
Yeah. Ben, right?
Brooks. It's Brooks Koepka.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to be honest. I think I'm selling Brooks this year. I am, because the split with Claude Harmon, like, I feel like
I was between Brooks. I was between Brooks and Oosthuizen.
Yeah, Louis.
Just because Louis will be in the top 6 to 8, and he just hits the ball out the middle of the club, the distance he wants to every single time. Every now and again, he gets a little bit whiffy with a putter, but other than that, Louis is just money. So I was between Brooks and Louis. I think the thing I like about Brooks is he just gets in a piss and wants to beat you, and I love that.
It's true. Yeah, I hope he proves me wrong. I really do.
I think he wasted some of his season last year with the putting. Especially at least the major season. He did fine on LIV, but I think it kind of bothered him. And I wouldn't be surprised if, we talked about it, he might just run back to Claude for the same reason. Like, he's just going to be like, this is unfamiliar. It's not something I like. I want Claude back. So, it could work. It could not. Experimenting, I'm going to go with DJ. I think that I kind of stand with you, Pro. I think he's... Oh,
you've left Cam now. I can't believe you didn't go Cam.
Yeah, I do think Cam will have a good year. He didn't have the finishes that I wanted. And honestly, it's kind of me hedging my thing. It's like, if he does well, I win no matter what. But at least if he doesn't, I have my backups in Bryson and DJ. And I think, bombing, it's going to work for a couple of these courses they're playing this year. So, I still count Cam as actually more of my pick for the majors. But yeah, I've picked my number 2 and my number 7 instead of my 1 and 4 on my my rankings. But
what's interesting now is now we're going to do rookie, and it's back to me at the top of the snake draft, and Jay's got to go last.
What? Oh yeah. Okay. Fair.
So
I thought I got first pick for some reason, but okay.
You've already had your first pick.
You got first. You have first and second, and yeah. I think you're right, Ben. Go ahead.
So I'm going for...
No, I never got a first pick.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you got Taro on the second round.
Well, yeah, except I'm talking about first pick for the... All right.
You had first pick in the second round.
Yeah.
Let's go quick. Let's go first to the rookies. Who you can pick from. You've got Max Lee. You've got...
Tom McKibben. Yubin
Tom
Jang.
McKibben. Yeah, Ben Campbell. Yubin Jang.
Louis.
You put Ollie Snyder-Jens on the list too. I think that's
Ollie
fair.
Snyder-Jens. Louis Massovo.
How many starts are you going to take? Frederick Ketchup.
Yeah, Freddie
Ketchup.
Max Lee. You want to throw Max Lee in there?
I put Max Lee as the first one. I'm going to go Tom McKibben.
Okay.
I think Yubin Jang's going to have a hotter start. I just think the kid's going to come out the gates racing. But I just think that McKibben's just he's going to be like a Rory ball trajectory. He's just going to do that nicely and just climb and keep going. His years can. I'm going to go on a limb here, a big old limb. He's going to win an event. Tom McKibben will win an event.
Okay.
I like that.
That'll be surprising.
I like that.
Don't be surprised.
He's that good.
I have him as a top 25 player. I just that will secure him for sure.
Mate, top 25 player. I tell you what, if you made me bet £1,000 over under top 18, so 18.5 over under, I'd pick the over.
I'm not saying he's not a good player. I just have concerns about what we've seen so far from the Euros that have transferred over. I know it's difficult. There's a thing on LIV that takes a little bit of time to get used to, and we've seen it with Moronk. He was the first, and was Tom the 10th to get in? Was Tom the last one to get his card?
You're right. To be fair, the Euros really struggled. Tyrrell really struggled last year. John really struggled last year. John really struggled last year. The Euros are really struggling, Red. That's a
I'm talking about the DP World Tour.
Dreadful take.
I'm talking about the DT World Tour, and even Rahm had admitted that he didn't get off to the hottest of starts because he was getting used to how it works. So,
who won last year?
Rahm won. He could have won
really
better.
Struggled. They're really struggling. How did Sergio get on last year? these bloody Euros.
You're making it into Europe.
Hang on.
I'm not trying to offend Tom.
Were Euros the three of the top four places? I'm just checking. Like they're really struggling there.
I did the same thing. Like people, I'm not going to be picking Ben Campbell, by the way. Like because I did the same thing. I think there's a level of adjustment that happens, and it knocks some guys off, and it could happen to him. Could do great. I don't know. We'll see.
Who are you going for as yours?
Is it me or is it Jay? I don't know. I don't really care.
You got the paper.
Well,
go on, Jay.
Jay would be 2. So.
Okay, Jay's 2.
Okay. I guess I'll pick. All right. Yeah, I'll go Yubin Zhang. Yeah, I'll go. I just think it was honestly. I was thinking about going off board and picking Ollie Snyderjans because I think that Ollie Snyderjans is going to get plenty of starts. I think by midseason he's probably going to be on a team. Like I think Ollie Snyderjans is going to surprise a lot of people. However, just considering there's a little bit of uncertainty there with how many starts he's actually going to get. I'm going to go Yubin Zhang. I just think that he's flying under the radar. I think he's going to be the best player on the Ironheads. Like I just get this feeling.
Ollie, by the way, is in my team this week, fantasy.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah,
he should be. He's
hot.
Yeah. I can go off on a tangent on how much I like Ollie Snyderjans, but I think he's an elite player. Like he's an elite talent. Like he's been an elite talent since he was a kid. Since he was in college, he was the #1 amateur in the world. Like for a significant amount of time, and it's a really interesting story hearing. Like he went to Georgia Tech, and he was like All-American there. And his relationship with Andy Ogletree is actually one of the things that helped get him over to sort of play in the promotions event and then qualify for the international series. And then he's winning an international series event. And now here he is filling in for Phil Mickelson on LIV. Like, this is a great story. Like, I want them to play this up. I'm not changing my thing, though. I'm going to stick with Yubin Zhang, but we're going to talk a lot more about Ollie Snyderjans over the course of time.
Where this makes sense, obviously the scoring for this red is just going to be done on simply your end of season placing, and obviously the higher you are, the lower your number next to names. The lowest score wins, like in golf. The lowest score wins. Our week to week thing's different, but the lowest score wins. So actually, if you pick Ollie Schneiderlins and he has 2 or 3 good finishes, he's going to end up finishing in the top 20, and that's a great result anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Even though he won't be counted in the actual, I'm going to go with Frederick Ketchup. You
like Freddie Ketchup, don't you? Yeah.
I do. I have a sneaky feeling. I mean, he has that build, and I also think that the cliques are just going to be a friendly home for him. And I don't know. I have a little bit of belief in him. I like Ketchup, so why not? You guys took the 2 good ones anyway, so like I gotta go with somebody. I think Luis is probably going to be okay, but I have concerns about how he's going to transition too. He's young.
I think Luis is maybe I think Luis is maybe going to be. I think he's a good player. I think he might struggle this year. I don't know why. I think it's a big ask. But what I will say, really encouraging, he absolutely shit the bed in the first round at the international series in India.
Yeah, he shot like 79 or something like that.
But fought back valiantly the next day when other people were shitting the bed in those tough conditions, and he played really, really well. So the one thing the kid has got is he's got guts, and that is a good sign.
Yes, right, that's something you can't really project. It's something that only comes out with experience. So I think it's going to be interesting to follow for sure.
20 past 12.
I was going to say, we're on 90 minutes at this point. So if you're still here,
we're way over 90 minutes, right? Yeah. Ladies, gentlemen, good night. Jay has got to edit this, and I got to get it out. Oh, God. Good night. I love you all. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.